All right, Larry Krueger here from the Pig and a Pickle Krug Show with a little 49er video as we're down here at Levi's on a Thursday with some Niner news and notes ahead of Niners Saints, which is coming up, of course, Sunday. And, of course, we're brought to you by Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Check them out. They're in Emeryville. They're in Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. or until they run out, and they do run out. So get there early, get some brisket chili. Tell them that Krug sent you. This football season is also presented by Sleeper, the fastest growing fantasy platform in the world. It's a one-stop shop. You get blazing fast news, real-time stats, group chat, season-long leagues, and of course, Sleeper picks. For daily fantasy, use the promo code Larry, and Sleeper will match your first deposit up to $100. Links in the description. Terms and conditions do apply. And thanks to Sleeper for being a proud sponsor of the Krug Show. All right, Niners getting ready to head to New Orleans at the end of the week, as are we, courtesy of Claudaddy Arcades. Thank you, Claudaddy. You're the man. Kev and I will be in New Orleans Friday night, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Should be a great weekend in New Orleans, and hopefully it will be a win for the 49ers. The Niners are going to have to do it without Brock Purdy. According to multiple reports, Brock Purdy will be out 2 weeks for sure, could be out 2 to 5 weeks because of turf toe. So Mac Jones will be the number one quarterback. And even though the Niners worked out the veteran Mike White, thus far they've opted not to sign him, and so the number two quarterback will be Adrian Martinez, the former Nebraska and K-State star who also had a great little run in the UFL. So that's what we're looking at this weekend. A couple other notes. Jordan James with the fingers is healthy and should be a go on Sunday, which we may see a big rushing attack. Get ready for a CMC, Brian Robinson, Jordan James, Isaac Guerrero. I think the Niners may run it 40 times in the game if they can. I mean, if you look at last week's game in week one, Arizona against this New Orleans defense ran for 5.4 a carry, 27 carries for 146 yards, 5.4 a tote. When you see numbers like that, you're like, hey, run the ball on this Saints defense. They've got it's a better speed pass rush kind of a front. You know, Cam Jordan's still a force. Breezy's pretty tough. Granderson can get the passer. Demario Davis is real. I mean, they got a real front, and they can put some heat on the quarterback. But if you can run the ball at them, I think you got a better chance to beat them for sure. Now, Adrian Martinez will be that number two quarterback. I've got a lot of confidence in Martinez. I talked to him the other day. He's got 4.55 speed. He's grounded. He's tough. He's playing his best football. He just was the MVP of the UFL Bowl and is playing really good football. And he's athletic, he's smart, he's competitive. I would not feel nervous if Adrian Martinez had to come off the bench and play in this game. Now, the 49ers, by the way, are on pace to allow 136 quarterback hits on the year. Purdy was hit 8 times in week one. Times 17, that's 136. That's a lot of hits. So get ready to see multiple quarterbacks. I think one of the most interesting things, if you look at Brock Purdy's stats with the Niners, over the 3 years he's been in the NFL, he has the 49ers have the eighth worst, they're eighth worst in pressure percentage allowed. So they're eighth worst in the league in pressure percentage allowed, but they're ninth best in sacks allowed. So Brock Purdy really makes his offensive line look better than it is. I mean, his mobility, his ability to move around and avoid everybody really helps him quite a bit. So Brock, you know, I would say Brock running around is going to help this line quite a bit. And without him running around, that could really hurt. Braden Willis will get the practice squad promotion to replace George Kittle on the IR. The Niners are still favored to win this game. They're a 3.5-point favorite. John Lynch went on KNBR and he said Eddie Pinheiro he talked about how he likes the Pinheiro experience and that he has experience with both Brant Boyer and Thomas Morstead. So that's another attractive trait for the 49ers. You know, one other stat that I thought was kind of interesting. Since 2022, the Niners offense generates minus 0.1 EPA per play with both Kittle and Purdy off the field. That's 30th in the NFL. When Purdy and Kittle are playing, the Niners lead the NFL in EPA per play at plus 0.11. So it just really tells you, illustrates how valuable Brock Purdy is, how valuable George Kittle is, and they won't have either of them in this game against the Saints. So it's going to be a huge challenge. And as I said, Jordan James coming back, Garendo, there's CMC, there's Brian Robinson. It's all early in the year. I expect a heavy dose of the run game in this game from the 49ers. Today we're going to go out to practice and watch, see what they have to say. Then Robert Saleh is going to speak. Mac Jones will speak. And we'll get a feel for how the Niners feel about this game plan. But I would expect it's going to be a run-heavy plan. With Purdy out, the one thing with the 49ers is like the first week they ran a lot, but they didn't run effectively. They only ran for 3.5 yards a carry. I think in this game they're going to have to run with volume and effectiveness to have success. I think this is the game where you really run to protect both your defense and your quarterback from hits. If you can drop back and pass 15 times and make it all count, maybe that's the way to go. So I think this is going to be a very interesting game plan. Kyle Shanahan is known in this situation to be a genius, right? This is where Kyle finds that extra wrinkle and finds those mismatches and starts using different formations and personnel groupings and shifts and motions and gets really creative. And some of his best coaching is when his back is against the wall. So I'm eager to see what it looks like this weekend. But Purdy is not just out for this week. He's out for at least 2 weeks and is maybe as many as 5 weeks. John Lynch went on KBR and said, hey, look, it's a week-to-week thing. And they'll just keep evaluating it week to week and see where he's at. My guess is if, it's a rest thing, right? So if they win games, they're going to give them a good long rest. I mean, the advantage of having the league's softest schedule is that maybe you can win some games with your backup quarterback. Maybe you can win some games when you're less than 100%. The Niners are really testing it. No Demarcus Robinson early, no Brandon Ayuk early. Obviously, Debo's moved on. Now you have no George Kittle early. And it's putting a lot of pressure. But, as you saw in week 1, Jake Tonga stepped up, and maybe Jordan James or Isaac Garendo will step up in week 2. Maybe a Braden Willis will step up in week 3. This is why you have the practice squad. This is why you have all those extra guys. This is why you build the depth. This is why you have a personnel department, right? They stack your roster as much as they possibly can, and that's what the Niner personnel department is trying to do. So they've been dealt some serious blows, but they also do have kind of a favorable schedule. I mean, I would say the team who would you like to be playing this week? Probably the New Orleans Saints. Yes, they lost in week 1, but it's a young team. Spencer Rattler, young quarterback. It's a team that's kind of finding itself. There's a lot of talk about them kind of looking ahead to the Arch Manning sweepstakes and the draft. It's obviously a transition year for the Saints on the offensive side of the ball. Defensively, they still look very much like the Saints of old. But, you get the vibe that this is the right team to play at the right time. They're having a hard time stopping the run. And, the 49ers absolutely need to establish that run as fast as they possibly can. So, should be really good. I'm going out to practice. We'll have a full breakdown later on. Catch me tonight on Niners Nightly at 6 o'clock on KNBR. Todd Husak is going to stop by. He'll be my guest tonight. We'll chop it up with Todd. Thanks to Pig and a Pickle for being the title sponsor of The Krug Show. Thanks to Sleeper for sponsoring this video. And thanks to all of you guys for supporting The Krug Show on YouTube.